everyone, and welcome back to G-Star's Vault, the safe place for paranormal evidence, with me, G-Star. This is an episode of Story Time. We return to the second part of a story, so if you didn't happen to join us for part 1, please check out the description of this video for a link to part 1 if you would like to listen to that story time first. But now it's time to get comfortable again. Get yourself a nice hot drink, relax as we continue the story of George Adamski and his alien encounters. In 1955, Adamski's book Inside the Spaceships was published by Abelard Schumann. It includes visits on both cigar-shaped and disc craft. The first is said to have taken place on the 18th of February 1953, with a further visitation on the 12th of April 1953, with further contact with space beings in September that year, when a friendly visiting UFOnaut joined Adamski for lunch in a Los Angeles restaurant. Then things become fuzzy. We don't have the date, but he is taken on board a saucer. The following year, on the 23rd of August 1954, he climbed on board for the 4th time for a farewell banquet. There was no further contact except for Adamski requesting permission to take photos of the spaceships, which he attempted on the 24th of April 1955. Apparently his camera was too crude to pierce the force fields around the saucers. His fame during his 1950s heyday was worldwide. He had international tours arranged for him, addressed packed, spellbound audiences, and met influential leaders and rulers, including Queen Juliana of the Netherlands. In 1961, Adamski's Flying Saucers Farewell was published by Abelard Schumann. This allowed him to lay out his stall of philosophy, answer the many questions he had received about his accounts thus far, and mount some defense against a growing barrage of criticism. As science advanced and many other interpretations of the UFO phenomenon flooded the market, Adamski's star began to fade. His quaint ideas and fantastic claims had their day. A growing number of people accused him of being a fraud. In addition to the historical inaccuracies from his co-author Desmond Leslie, there were some questionable items in George Adamski's books. For example, the encounter in the Mojave Desert with a blonde, long-haired alien wearing a ski suit might have been credible, but the only evidence that the Cosmic Master provided of his race's supreme wisdom was etched into the sole of his intergalactic shoes. Adamski provides a diagram of the symbols on the alien spacesuits and tells us how he immediately made a plaster of Paris cast of them. After all, when you're about to wander into the hot, hostile desert, with the off chance that aliens might land, failing to remember that one vital item on your survival checklist, a bag of plaster of Paris, with enough water, a trowel, and a bucket, you could be in trouble. During his final years, he claimed to have enjoyed trips to Mars and Saturn, and further contact by his cosmic friends, but with no one listening, on the 24th of April 1965, he died in Silver Springs, Maryland. He left no will. He was 74. In retrospect, he seems like a kind, wise soul with good intentions. As an entrepreneurial, self-proclaimed blue-collar prophet of limited education who made something of his life. Fraud or no fraud, today our lives are ruled by far more disingenuous male factors than George Adamski. He will always have my affection and gratitude for firing my generation's imagination and curiosity. We hope you've enjoyed this story of George Adamski and his alien encounters. Please do join us next time here in the vault for another story time, and our next story is going to be one of a more ghostly background and slightly a little bit more scary. Please join us for that, and to make sure you do, please subscribe, click that notification bell, and if you haven't done so already, please like this video. Good night.